My son made an edgy joke about his sister's deepest trauma. Now she says he's dead to her, has moved out, and is destroying our entire family. Plus one update. I am at the end of my rope and desperate for some input. My husband and I have a daughter, who is 17, and a son, who is 14. They have never been overly close siblings, but they weren't sworn enemies either. They were just two different kids with two different personalities, and as long as everyone was respectful, that was okay with me. When my daughter was 10, she was the victim of abuse by a family member, who was convicted and went to jail. She was in intensive therapy for years, and we are so proud of the strong, confident, and intelligent young woman she is today. She has always been very private about what happened. Besides our family, only her lifelong best friend and her parents knew. My son, however, also knew about the abuse. 2 months ago, he flippantly told some friends about it, and before we knew it, the whole school knew. My daughter was devastated, to say the least. She's been back in counseling since and has been coping as well as possible. This counseling has come at a financially tough time for us. It is obviously worth every penny, but the fact that we can't afford more counseling is a factor here. My daughter blew up at my son when this first happened, and he saw the fallout of her coping with this firsthand. But since that night where she found out he told people, she hasn't spoken a single word to him. She doesn't look at him when he enters a room or react when he speaks directly to her or about her or anything else. For example, at dinner, she'll speak to us and he'll chime in, and she just continues the conversation as though he hadn't said anything. My son has tried daily to talk to her and has apologized, begged, pleaded, and cried. It's always the same. She'll usually just crack a book or look at her phone, put some AirPods in, and ignore him completely. She won't discuss it with me, besides saying that he's dead to her, and she has no intention of ever seeing or speaking to him again when she moves out in 10 months. She hasn't wavered even a bit in that sentiment since. I'm at a complete loss. My son is on total lockdown. He's lost his phone, video games, and any sort of privilege or ability to do things with friends. He essentially goes to school, comes home, does his homework, and goes to bed. He knows we are devastated and beyond disappointed. I believe he's sincerely sorry and contrite. He's broken down crying and apologizing to us more times than I can count, but I'm unsure of how to proceed. We can't afford family counseling, and my daughter's personal counselor won't talk to me about what she says, besides to say not to push her on anything. I know she has every right to be furious. But at the same time, I can't help but feel like it's also not mentally healthy for my son to be treated as though he literally doesn't exist in his own home for the next year. I know it's a natural consequence, but it's gut-wrenching to see and be living with. Not to mention, as a mom, I don't want my kids to be permanently estranged. It breaks my heart. A few people asked for more details. Unfortunately, my son talked about it both in person and in texts that were flippant and trying to make a joke of it to seem edgy to his friends. I've tried to talk with my daughter about forgiveness and what an apology could look like, but she never wavers. She just says some variation of him being dead to her and that she will never have to see or interact with him again in 10 months. The idea that she could go no contact with me and her father too if we push too hard is in the back of my mind. I guess I'm just grieving and lost. I asked my daughter what she planned to do about holidays like Christmas and Thanksgiving once she has moved out. She was clear in saying that if he was here, she wouldn't be, and I believe her. This year, she's already said she plans to be at her best friend's house for Thanksgiving instead of here. So we'll be missing that, and I wouldn't be surprised if she skips Christmas. And then what? For the foreseeable future, I'll never see her for a holiday again. I know this isn't the main issue here, it's just heartbreaking to come to terms with. Update. I posted about our issues last year, where my son joked about my daughter's abuse to his friends in an attempt to be edgy. She stopped speaking to him and said he was dead to her, despite living in the same house. I want to thank people for the advice, some of it was harsh but necessary. Unfortunately, things have not gotten better. My son's grounding came to an end, and he got supervised access to his phone, video games, and friends back. My daughter was livid with us about it. No amount of explanation that continual punishment for a year wasn't an option made that understandable to her. I get it from her point of view, but it began to strain her relationship with me and her dad, too. She still ignored my son, and he still cried and was depressed over it. I booked 3 sessions of expensive family counseling and made her come, but she just kept her earbuds on with music playing the entire time. She turned 18 in January. My son dipped into his savings to get her a necklace. I gave it to her and told her it was from him after she opened it. She threw it away. Within a few days, she had moved out and into her best friend's parents' house without telling us she was going to. I invited her home for Easter, and she didn't come because her brother, who had nowhere else to go, would be here. I'm still at a loss. Her graduation is next week, and we weren't formally invited by her. We basically got an "I guess you can come" when I asked. My son obviously isn't invited, and he's still struggling mentally with all of this. Therapy and medication haven't helped much, but our options for what we can afford are very limited. Has anyone been here? I never dreamed of having children estranged from each other and a daughter who pulled away from us over her brother's idiotic mistake. I know he messed it up. It's just hard as a parent to witness the fallout for them both. She's not only devastated but views him as dead to her, and he is depressed and struggles with self-loathing, and I'm not able to do anything to try to help. I know she doesn't owe him forgiveness or a relationship, but this stalemate doesn't seem to be helping anyone either.